Woody Wommack and Mike Farrell here at Signing Day Central, New York City. We're talking with Corey Bender, who covers Florida for the Rivals.com network. Corey, how are you doing today?
Good, Woody. Thanks for having me on.
Man, we know you're bouncing around. You're going to announcements. You're trying to figure out what's going on. So first of all, tell us, the biggest guy we're tracking today related to Florida is Timothy Smith, big-time defensive lineman committed to Alabama. Is he going to flip? Is he not? What's the latest that you're hearing?
Yeah, right now I'm trending towards Alabama. I think the majority of this week there was a lot of Florida buzz, from both parties. But over the last 48 hours or so, a lot of the momentum has kind of switched back into Alabama's favor. As of right now, that's where I'm sticking with right now. I think it's extremely close. And when you break it down as well, it kind of makes more sense for Florida. He's been on campus about 7 or 8 times. He said relationships are going to be key now rather than the NFL pipeline, which is one of the main reasons why he committed to Alabama in the first place. So when you kind of mix those together, you kind of think Florida, especially coming off that official visit. But talking to Florida sources and talking to Alabama sources, a lot of that momentum right now is with the Crimson Tide, and that's the expectation is right now. Nothing's official and everything could change, but right now I'm rolling with Alabama there, and I think there's obviously more familiarity at Florida after obviously visiting so many times, but I think he can't really look past, what Nick Saban has obviously done in Tuscaloosa. That's, undeniable. And, as of right now, that's where we're sticking with Tim Smith, same with Alabama.
How about the domino effect? Okay, so we're assuming Smith sticks with Alabama. We saw Clyde Pinder did not sign this morning with North Carolina. We know he's always had an affinity for Florida. The Gators offered him late. If Smith sends that letter into Alabama, do you think that Pinder flips from North Carolina to Florida?
Yeah, I think it's definitely possible. So earlier this week, that's what one source actually told me. They said if Smith ends up, staying with Alabama and that's known, don't be surprised if Pinder looks elsewhere and maybe takes a harder look at Florida. And I kind of on record saying I think Pinder likes Florida, but I don't think he loves Florida. And it's one of those things. Florida already has 4 defensive tackles already committed. They already have a very good class in the interior defensive line. So maybe that's something to look at as well. But definitely now that Pinder, Rob reported earlier today that he's likely not going to be signed today. And other than North Carolina, which obviously Mac Brown and that staff has done a great job of recruiting him, and it won't be easy to flip him. But now, obviously, with him postponing it, all eyes are on the Gators right now, and that's definitely possible as far as a flip. I wouldn't expect anything today or maybe tomorrow, but over the next couple of days, it wouldn't shock me by the end of the week if Pinder comes public with a true decision.
Who else are you tracking today?
Yeah, as far as other ones, would be Sam Brown out of Georgia. That's the one of the positions with Florida right now. I know there's some uncertainty. They got Frazier's in the fold. Leonard Manuel. He's slated to sign in February, but I know there's some questions surrounding that. So wide receiver is the one position where a lot of Florida fans are pretty worried. And Sam Brown, that's one of the kids right now out of Georgia, a fast riser. Florida, Ole Miss, and Georgia all offered last week. And talking to Chad and other sources too, West Virginia is heavily in play here. My prediction is Florida, and that's where a lot of the buzz is. But I also heard from other people too. West Virginia is fairly confident too. He knows some people on West Virginia's roster. They're from his area. He loved Morgantown, had a good visit. I think that one's a lot closer than what many people think. It wouldn't shock me if West Virginia was a choice whatsoever, but I'm sticking with Florida. The other ones too today, Phil Webb. Florida's in the top 3. I don't expect him to pick Florida. Bama or LSU. They're most likely LSU. Then you got E.J. Smith, obviously the legacy recruit. Running back obviously is a big need in this class, and that's the other one where Florida's kind of scattering around for. Henry Parrish and Jahmyr Gibbs will likely be on campus in January for official visits, but they're going pretty hard after E.J. Smith. There was some buzz earlier this week with that, but I didn't take too serious. And I don't expect Florida to get him either. I think it's going to be Stanford or Texas A&M for E.J.
How excited are they about Anthony Richardson down there?
No, absolutely. So he's one of the guys as far as on the field and physical transformation who's made huge strides from the end of last year until now. And I think a lot of it has to do, I think his pocket awareness is one thing that definitely grabs my attention in a hurry, but also his ability to throw on the run. He picks up, he reads defenses fairly well as well. He picks up things fairly quickly. And obviously his arm strength has improved. If you look at what he looked like as a junior and you look at him now as a senior physically, he doesn't even look like the same kid whatsoever. He's a kid that puts his head down and goes down to work. Emory Jones, he's the other one coming back. You got Kyle Trask. So you have some guys on the team. Jalen Jones, who signed with Florida last year, we all know what happened with that. He got dismissed from the team. So there's some question marks. They obviously needed a young quarterback, obviously, in this class. Dan Mullen and Brian Johnson, the quarterbacks coach, they're big fans of his development and how much he's grown over the last year. So, no, definitely Florida fans are very stoked to have him on board, and he signed earlier today. He's already actually been practicing for bowl practices as well.
Yeah, I heard he's been lighting it up. I saw some players saying that they were really impressed with him at the bowl practices. So, Corey, last but not least, Marcus Stumerville just committed to LSU. How big was it for Florida to get that flip earlier in the week? Stealing a guy away from Georgia, especially now that they missed out stealing a guy from Georgia. Now that they missed out on Stumerville.
Yeah, I think with Stumerville, he visited for 3 days for Friday Night Lights, and there was a lot of Florida buzz then, and I still wasn't completely buying that in, and then he returned for his official, but I think most Florida fans expected him to sign with LSU. That really wasn't a secret, but obviously it softens that blow. As much as a Stumerville fan a lot of people are, it softens that blow, like you said, getting a Josh Brown, a Mauler, the type of guy they need. Offensive line is a big weakness right now as far as, along the offensive line right now. They had a lot of young guys step in this year, a lot of uncertainty in the trenches, and based off what we were told, there's some of those guys are already in the two deep, and we're hearing Braun is one of those guys. He's only been with the team for a week. He's already kind of getting some reps there in the bowl practices. So getting him on board, he's a mauler, and he's a guy next year with him early enrolling. It wouldn't surprise me if he gets a good, solid look, with that second team or even possibly next year as a starter.
All right, great, Corey. Thanks a lot for joining us. You can check out Corey's work on our Florida site, GatorsTerritory.com, and keep it locked into Rivals.com. We have coverage coming all week.